giving Skittles today. It's giving the yellow, the orange. I'm really into bright colors right now. I feel like it's just good for the mental.
I really want to wear more bright colors, but can I tell you something?
Go ahead.
I'm just so nervous of my armpit sweat.
Oh.
That's what's kept me from wearing bright colors.
But you can, like...
If I could be so honest with you.
No, you're good.
That's why I refuse to wear them. Because as you know, when you sweat, girl, them things going to really show. Like, an orange dress, yeah. I could never wear that.
Oh, my God, no.
Yellow, never.
Oh, my, no. I love bright colors. I will wear them at all risks and costs. The other day, something terrible happened to me. You know that colorful jumpsuit that I'm always wearing all the time? I, love it. My body did something to me the other day, girl. In public. And I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave the rest to everybody's imagination. But I had to go.
God.
You don't even know what happened.
I know, but I'm imagining that it had to be terrible.
It was bad, girl. Hey y'all, welcome back to Esther Alexis, Body of an Extravert. It's been a while, but let's not even focus on that. Let's focus on the good things. I hope that your summer has been awesome. Mine has been slow due to the weather. How have yours been?
Mine has been just intermittent.
Yeah.
I feel like I've had some good days, but also some not so good days.
I think it's I hate to say it because summer is my favorite season ever, but this summer has really just been, it feels dreary, but I don't let it get me down. If y'all don't know, the person sitting to the left of me, the right of you, is my good friend, Sabrina St. Just, right? So if you have been watching this season, you know that I am giving my guests their flowers, not literally, but figuratively. And so I've been doing these introductions, and I tell everyone what I think of them and what they mean to me.
Oh gosh.
No, why are you scared? No, I think it's important. You want to know why? Because in the beginning of the year, this young person that we both know passed away, and I just was thinking, OMG, so many people don't know what they mean to people, and it's important. And I hate that we wait until it's too late to say something kind. Do you know what I mean? So I'm give people their flowers. That's what I've been doing all summer to fight off the dreariness. So here we go.
I hope you don't make me cry
I don't think so,
because we're just starting. So
just want to start off soft. No. You'll be fine. I'm sure. Okay. So, okay. So I have known Sabrina since forever. I know that everyone always says that, but it's really, really funny. I think that I've known you the longest of all my guests that have been on the show. Oh. But when I was thinking of how I could introduce you, I was literally I had no words. It took me so long. Even when you were okay, I'll be there in a few, I was I'm gonna just have to wing it. And it's not because I don't have great things to say about you. I think it's genuinely because the words aren't enough. You know what I'm saying? They're not, here we go. They're genuinely, I feel like they're not enough. I'm gonna try, but I feel it would not do you justice. And I think the greatest gift that I think our friendship has bought me genuinely is the ability to learn to love someone, in all their seasons and all their colors.
I agree.
And I am I'm so grateful for that gift, because we live in a day and age where people it's so easy to come in and out of what love is. And I'm if you genuinely love someone, you love them through their good, their bad, their sad, their mad. And I feel over the course of the last 15 plus years.
15 years, child.
I have seen a rainbow of emotion between us, and yet the biggest anchor there is always love. So on top of being a social worker who is compassionate, who is driven every single day, on top of being an amazing daughter, a sister, a soul sister, an advocate for those around her, an inspiration in darkness. You, I think you're a light. You're a light in the world. I think it's befitting that you would wear yellow today, because you're a light. And I think that people often throw you compliments and praises, so maybe you're used to them. But I just wanted you to know, even even on days where you feel like you're not shining, you're so bright, it's blinding. And so I'm very grateful for your light. You're welcome. You see, you're fine. Look at you. Look at you.
I barely made it, y'all.
No, you're fine.
I appreciate that.
So that is my introduction of Sabrina, but I am going to ask you a few questions so that the audience can get to know you for themselves. You know, they can't just take my word about it. They got to connect to you.
Bring them on, girl.
It's not too tough. It's just, just be yourself, right? Okay, so what is the last show that you binge watched?
The last show that I binge watched was All American. Listen, that show is great. Some people have said, oh, it's not that. It's a great storyline. And I watched it like from beginning to end.
How many seasons is that?
I'm pretty sure there's 5 seasons, but maybe 4. But I think I watched the 5th season. Whatever was left on Netflix. Because, Netflix... We get things afterwards.
Yes,
everything's on cable, so there's probably like an 8th season out right now. We only got 5.
That's fine. That's fine,
but
girl.
That's the last show I watched, and it was great.
Okay.
A lot of things happened, and I don't want to spoil it for anyone that is into that show, but keep going because it's a really good show. Okay. All American.
I'm gonna have to believe you. I feel like. Is that the one? Because I'm a little confused about All American because I feel like, is that the one where Michael B. Jordan kind of got his start?
Yes, and there's another show connected to it called Homecoming, which I haven't watched just yet. But All American, yes. Okay. Wait a minute. I'm not thinking of Michael B. Jordan. No. Michael B. Jordan, no.
Which one was he? It's something similar, like football or something. I could be, girl, I'm terrible with television.
It's not Michael B. Jordan, but he's, wow.
Corey Hardrick?
Spencer James, whatever his name is, that's his name of the football player. And he's actually like from, I believe, England. Okay. Black, handsome man, if I may say so myself.
Let me tell you, England be producing some of those, girls.
First of all, Idris Elba, I never knew he had an accent.
John Boyega. I don't know if you know who that is, but baby. Listen.
Just the black magic is just overflowing in these shows. But All American, Taye Diggs is one of the main characters. Let me tell you something about Taye Diggs. He has been a crush of mine ever since The Best Man. Okay. If you watch The Best Man movie, let me tell you something. Taye Diggs is fine. Okay.
Girl, listen. What was that movie that he did with Sanaa Lathan?
Best Man.
Was that Best Man?
Yes. They were together. And yes, they were together. Like her name was Robin.
Oh
yes.
My gosh. You know what, girl? I low-key was like, this is shiesty, but you was handsome as hell, man.
Listen.
I'll tell you. Okay. But All American, we'll give it a try.
All American.
What motivates you to get up in the morning?
Wow.
Switch up. Just.
I would say my purpose.
Oh, wow. Elaborate.
So it's crazy because I went to the gym this morning, right? But when I woke up, when I literally like opened my eyes, I struggled to get out of bed. Like I did not want to get out of bed. It was very cloudy this morning.
It was bleak.
Very dark. But I told myself, I said, Sabrina, you got to show up for yourself today. Who's going to show up if you don't show up for yourself, girl? Get up. Get up, girl. Show up for yourself. And I've been telling myself that, and it's actually like been motivating me. Mm-hmm. So it's just positive self-talk, and really just reminding myself of my purpose. And the purpose this morning was to get to the gym. I haven't been in a couple weeks, but I got there.
You know what? That is so nice. I had a very different morning. My alarm also went off to go to the gym. I usually go to the gym at night, but because we were doing this, I was like, I'm going to go to the gym in the morning. Yeah. And I signed up. I went to bed early, put my alarm on, and that alarm went off. And I said, no, I won't. No, I won't. I could skip a day. That's also mental health, positive thought.
Self-care.
Stay down. You've been through a lot. Stay down, soldier. I'm like, God's put a lot on your shoulders lately. Sometimes rest is the battle. Come on, somebody. I just wish one person would testify.
Hello.
Come on. Sometimes rest is the battlefield. Right. Listen, but no, I think that honestly, this showing up for yourself season.
Showing up for yourself.
Ooh, that's work. That is work.
And it's a battle with you. Oh I literally was like, Sabrina, you have to show up for yourself today because if you don't, no one will. So are you going to choose to show up for yourself today?
Wow.
And I got my ass up. I was like, yeah, time to get up. Time to go.
I'm worth it. I'm worth getting up early for.
I'm telling you, tell yourself that.
That was actually so beautiful. Okay.
Was it really?
It was actually really nice. I'm like, I'm going to try to do that. Not tomorrow morning, but another
Maybe
time.
the next day.
The next day. Okay. So what, you know what, actually, I think that this even answers this question, because I was like, what habits do you have to take care of your mental health?
One of the things that I've been trying to do a lot more is journaling. But that was put on by my therapist, so it wasn't my own idea.
It doesn't have to be.
But with that being said, journaling, I also have a therapist as well. And it's interesting because I think that many people assume that clinicians don't need clinicians. We do. We need therapists too. So it really helps to have one.
That's nice.
Yeah. And then hot showers. I'm really big on hot showers and aromatherapy, y'all. Bath and Body Works. I become with them combo lines, child. the bath soap, the lotion, the oil. That is my night routine.
Do you want to know something?
And I have a eucalyptus one that I'm using right now, and it is superb.
Is it eucalyptus and spearmint?
And spearmint, yes.
It
kind of gives us like a manly, like
it does. My dad uses
love it,
but it brings me so
I
much
love
peace.
It. I
gives
love
me
it so much. Yeah.
Bro. But can I just say that you were the first person to put me onto shower gels when we were teenagers?
Really?
Like, yeah. Like I always use like soap and like a little like a glove, like an exfoliating thing.
Yeah.
But I remember when you used to sleep over, you would bring over like a humongous tub.
I would always
of like shower gel. Like Sabrina wouldn't be like, let me just pump a few for tomorrow. She'd be like,
oh God,
like a 13-pound tub. Like it took up her whole bag. And I was one day, it
I
was
don't know
like,
why I did that.
Yeah, I was like,
because obviously you had soap.
Yo, and she was like, no. I was like, what is this? And Sabrina was like, I don't use soap for everywhere in my body. Some parts get shower gel, some parts get soap, some parts get both. And she like broke down the structure of a shower to me.
I love a good shower gel.
And I was like,
I love a good
shower
shower
let me try
gel.
on these little shower gels, and I was like,
it won't disappoint you.
It surely did not. So come on, somebody, take your nice long hot showers if you can afford them, God willing. Because it's also that time.
Don't stretch yourself now.
Come on,
holiday season's coming up. I don't know. Save your coins while you can.
Talking about mental health. Don't put yourself in a position you can't back out of. Listen, fortunately, I don't pay my water bill. Glory be to God. But if I did, I'd have to be in and out. And this is why God only gives us battles that we can handle. Come on, somebody.
Come on.
All right. So, I like this one. What is your most recent accomplishment and what is your next accomplishment?
My most recent accomplishment has to be obtaining my LMSW. That is the biggest accomplishment of the year. Yes. I live in the state of Connecticut, and for those of you that know about the bill that just passed, they are finding that there were a lot of discrepancies within the field pertaining to the exam. And that's something that I can be transparent about. Child, when it comes to exams, Esther knows, I get really anxious, a little nervous, and it's something that I intentionally was preparing for a while. Something that I paid for as well, just to get an email saying, hey, get your refund because here you go.
Oh my God, are they giving you a refund?
Oh yeah, of course. Get your refund if you have it. But yeah, so that's definitely a big accomplishment.
Congratulations. That means that you are totally licensed. Okay, come on, somebody.
Period.
And what is your next goal to accomplish?
My next goal to accomplish, honestly, it's a really good one. I have a few, and I'll share two. Two of my big goals that I want to accomplish is obtaining the LCSW, as you know. So it's like the master of the masters, like the Jedi of the tribe, the sensei of, the throne, the king of the throne of licensures. I would love to obtain that. Just to advance, because I do want to have my own private practice. Hopefully, like within my 30s. That's something that I want to strive towards.
Baby, that's coming up soon. That could be in the next 5 years.
I'm telling you, I'm talking 3. So the LCSW, yeah, and then honestly, not necessarily financial stability per se, but multiple streams of income. So thinking about like the private practice, but then like working, and then investments, learning about investments. What do they mean? I've never been into stocks, but learning about that and investing my money to potentially have multiple streams of income. That is something I really want to do. In Jesus' name, I claim it now. Hallelujah.
And the righteous are never forsaken.
Okay.
Come on, somebody.
Hello.
You know, it's actually so funny because I thought that you were going to say that your biggest accomplishment recently was you paying off your credit card.
Oh, if I could say so.
Go
yes.
on.
Listen.
Come on.
Y'all, I can't even tell you the date because it hasn't even been a week. I paid off my credit card.
Come on, you better testify.
$0 is my current balance. 0.
You better talk about it. Talk about it.
And if I may say so.
Say it.
Y'all, I had accrued over $7,000 in debt.
Yep.
Over $7,000. And it felt impossible. Why? Because if you know anything about APR, child, that interest, baby. Every day.
Get interested in your interest.
Every day. It was accruing.
Yep.
It was literally to the point where the company would call me every day and be like, hey, like, do you want any help? Like, do you want any help on like learning about our programs and all these other things? But one thing that I realized that actually kept me from paying off my debt was actually fear. It's crazy. It was fear. And fear is actually what led to procrastination. So I had to literally take that thing by the horns and say, no, I'm not going to let this keep me bound. $0 as of today.
When you first told me this, literally shouted. Literally was in this room. Let me tell you something. Thank God, like these walls are thick. This is an old building. These walls are thick. It's a little scurry because if I'm getting murdered, no one will know.
Oh, God.
But I rebuke that. But
in Jesus' name.
Real life hollered when you said hollered.
I cried, y'all. I cried.
As you should.
Yeah.
You don't even know. You're about to find out. The level of like discipline that you have exuded in order to pay this off, if you keep this up for the rest of your days, it will be a no-brainer on how to manage your money moving forward, which is the topic of today's conversation. Y'all were probably like, what are we going to talk about? They ain't even hit the topic yet. The topic of today is broke friends and dead ends, okay? I'm like, because you know what, y'all? And this is for my millennials who are listening. We pushing 30 or you're in your 30s. Okay? And it's about time we talk about our financial stability.
Absolutely.
And so first and foremost, I want to really address what you said, which was you were afraid.
Yeah.
Like, can we talk about that fear and procrastination? Can you elaborate on that?
For me, it really was. So I knew that I had this amount to pay, right? And every time I looked at the amount, it kept getting bigger. So I thought it was actually bigger than me at one point. And that's where the fear crept in. And that's where the procrastination crept in. Because it's like, okay, if I pay some off today, that interest is still accruing because I'm not at that like minimum balance. So that's the thing about credit cards. If you don't know anything about credit cards, learn a thing or two, because I had no idea that if you go above that balance for that month, and let's say you don't pay it off, like the way my credit card is set up, it was $150 a month, right? That was like my maximum. If I didn't pay that off by the end of the month and I'm going into next month, let's say with $151, now that's like a late fee for my credit card company. In
addition to
the increase with the interest. So it wasn't just $151, as you've heard. I had thousands of dollars to pay. And being caught up in that massive amount, I felt that it was bigger than me. I, as you know, don't work a very I don't want to say important job. It is an important job, but I don't work a job that exactly. Thank you.
She does social work. She's doing God's work.
Listen, y'all, social workers out there. Okay,
stay strong.
All right,
we're gonna have. We'll have another episode coming for y'all soon.
Listen, in Jesus' name, hello somebody. But it was bigger than me. And for a long time, I felt defeated. And I was just like, all right, it's bigger than me. I'm not going to be able to pay this off. I will pay the minimum balance. And I literally, y'all, I was paying the minimum balance for a while. I want to say for about a year. I was paying the minimum balance every month. But the thing is, the interest was still accruing. So although they didn't harass me, and that's the thing that I realized I was in the loophole, because they didn't harass me because I was paying that minimum balance. But at the end of the day, that interest, baby. kept
Child.
accruing.
So let me tell you, it's so funny because part of the journey that I'm taking on this year, as I am finding out where I'm supposed to land, is helping my friends financially. Because as you know, I have a financial degree, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's a very slippery slope not knowing what you're doing when you have a tool in your hand,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's almost like when you have a gun in your hand. Like, it can be either for your protection or it could kill you if you're not
demise,
careful, right?
Yeah.
And so the thing is, credit cards are a very useful financial tool. If you know what you're doing, they can really work for you.
Yeah.
But when you really don't know what you're doing, it is the beginning of the
Can
end.
I just say,
Mhm.
so I got my credit card when I was a sophomore in college.
Which is a perfect time to
I
get it.
specifically was given this card because I was away. If you
Mhm.
remember, I
Yep.
was going to school and I was living on campus. So my parents were like, you know what? Here's your card. Use it strictly for groceries. And they were taking care of the payments at the end of the month because y'all, work, study, and campus jobs don't pay too much
Girl,
money.
Come on now.
So that's what it was. But then school ended.
And now it's your responsibility.
And that's when it started.
A lot of my friends, believe it or not, fear credit cards. Like, all of my, like, especially my friends who are like of color, they're like, oh my God, no, I hate credit cards. My parents had issues with credit cards. They're terrible, terrible, terrible things. And I'm like, no, they're not. They're confusing if you're not careful. But if you keep
Absolutely.
a very clear rule, which is pay on time, do not exceed what you cannot pay at the end of the month, then it's very, very useful to you. And I think it gets out of hand when, a month goes by and it's okay. I didn't make it this month. I spent more than I actually have. They compound the interest. And then next month, another bill comes.
Mm-hmm.
It's in that first moment. Like, personally, I feel like when you get that first late payment, because I've been there, that's when you've got to say, you know what? I can't let the next month hit me.
Yeah.
Because it does accrue every single day.
Literally every day.
And so by the time that second month rolls around for you to pay, it's already a whole different bill than what you already owed. It's a completely different number. So, like, I think I think it's so important that first red flag is, okay, maybe I stop spending on the credit card this month. And I look at what I have in my bank and see if I can end up paying this somehow by the end of the month.
One of the things that I actually will definitely be transparent about, and I think it speaks to my maturity and growth now. Y'all, I bought things on my credit card that I actually could not afford. Let's talk about that.
Because credit cards have bigger limits. And
huge,
so
thousands of
you
dollars.
Forget your place sometimes.
You forget that can you pay this off at the end of the month? That's what I had to start telling myself. Because I wasn't buying little sticks of gum, y'all. I was making full-blown purchases that I knew damn well I could not afford. And thinking, oh, yeah, okay, I have X amount of days to pay it off. Knowing that, okay, but that's going to be like your whole check.
Yeah, and do you have your whole check
do you have that
give?
by the 15th to pay, which I didn't have. So that was also another lesson I learned as well through this experience.
I think it's very important that when we talk about credit cards, that we need to acknowledge that our credit card's limit is not our limit. It's not the limit I have in my bank account. To be fully transparent, one of the biggest credit cards that I have, it doesn't have a limit. Like, I remember when I signed for it, they were like, this is going to be so great for you. It's limitless. And I said, I rebuke that in the name of Jesus. I was like, the limit is $300. I don't have it. I don't have it, right? Because when you hear this, and I think when I first got started with my college credit card, which was a Discover card, which I think is the best card any college
Esther
student
swears by Discover.
Let me tell you something. And I'm not
she should be like an ambassador because she was like, get a Discover card.
I was telling everyone get a Discover card because it's really great for students. If you make over a 3.0 GPA, they credit you, I think, $50 per semester, which is $100 for the year. That's one thing, right?
Yeah.
If you are proving that you're a student, they give you discounts on like books, et cetera, things that you were purchasing as a student, groceries, et cetera. I'm like, it was just helping you out. And that was the first sign that I realized, oh, like some of these credit cards, it's tit for tat, right?
Yeah.
They do want you to slip up and pay the minimum balance. That's how they make their money. But what I started to realize early on in college was there's a system here that I can use, but there's also a system that's working against me that they're hoping to use, right? Which is if I continue to use this to make my book purchases, if I continue to use this, for gas stations, for, if I continue to show them my grades at the end of the semester, they could pay off some of my debt. Like, I would make purchases knowing I'm going to average a 3.0. So I could spend $100 and they're going to comp me
because you're going to get it back.
Right.
Yeah.
What happens when I don't? That's the question, right? And there's nothing wrong with taking a risk, right? And that's what a credit card is sometimes, is you take estimated guesses or risks, and that's totally fine when you know you're going to win, right? It's not gambling where you throw it on the table and you hope for something.
Or you roll the dice, like.
Right. I think credit cards, it's a science where will it happen? And there are sometimes you might lose the game, but you cannot afford to be wrong more than 10% of the time.
Absolutely.
And it cannot be over the limit that you can actually afford,
yeah.
right? And I think that's the problem, is that, like, girl, I've walked into stores and been like, I could put this on my credit card. And then I walk out like, you know what? Let me just do an about face and return this, because actually I can't pay this in 15 days.
Yeah.
Straight up. I've not returned it. I've gone and suffered. I'm going to be honest, fully transparent.
It's still in my closet.
It's still in my closet. Y'all have seen it on the podcast, and I'm going to keep walking around with it. You know what I'm saying? But I remember making purchases and then doing, like, tallying up, like, when do I get paid? Will it line up in this time, etc. And if it didn't, I had to be big enough to be like, okay, then I can't buy this today. Maybe I can buy it the day after my credit card is due, because that gives me 28 days instead of 15.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? These are the conversations we need to have. But there is also something that you said, and I think it's also so important, which is you have to look that number in the eye.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say who, but she knows, she's watching this. I have a friend who does not look at her credit card bill numbers. It doesn't matter. Like, she just won't, because it really scares her. It really jars her. And I keep telling her, if you don't look at it, it's going to keep growing. It's like dust. You might not look at it, but it's just going to keep piling on. And when somebody walks by, they're going to be like, my goodness, there's a problem. Like, it's a real thing. You have to look at it. You cannot be afraid of the number, because respectfully, you put it there.
And you know what's interesting? I think because I had accrued all this debt, there was a level of shame that I felt. Whenever the credit card company would call me because I missed a payment. First of all, if you have a card, let me stop what I was saying just now. If you have a card and you didn't pay it, they harass you. They will call you from the time the sun rises to the end of business hours, just because they want their money.
Oh, yeah.
And so when I would get harassed with these calls, because I was procrastinating, there was that fear there. And then I finally would pick up the phone. And I would pay that minimum because I just so happened to have it. You know what I mean? There was a level of shame that came with that. And I really had to kind of, like, get myself out of that.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, what helped me, and it sounds kind of silly, but I downloaded the app for my company to see, because like you said, you have to look at it.
Yep.
And I went into my statements. I looked at what I was spending it on, and I was like, all right, Sabrina, this has to stop.
That's the way to
and
do
I
it.
looked at it, and believe it or not, I told myself, you're no longer going to pay the minimum. You need to pay X amount for the next couple months. And I did it by the months. So I started paying like $400 a month.
Yep.
Then I went to like $5,000. There was a month where I did $1,000.
Oh, wow.
Then there was another month I was able to do $2,000. And then the number, it goes down. It actually goes down.
Like, it does.
It really does.
You just have to start somewhere.
So that's 7,600 and so eventually went down to $2,000. And I said, wait a minute, I could do $2,000, right?
Yeah, it's a number I can
felt
actually
like
do.
I could manage that. So then I was like, I'm not going to let this accrue.
Yep.
I paid another $1,000 off, and I said, oh my God, I only have $1,000 or so to pay.
Yep.
$500 this month, $500 next month. So I set up payments. That's what helped me.
I think, dude, and that's the thing too. I think the whole shame thing is that people have to walk out of that. Like, people act,
I was so
think
embarrassed.
You shouldn't be, because let me tell you something. America's a country that's built on debt. No one has what they say that they have. Like, no one. Like, even billionaires, when we talk about their net worth, it's not what they actually have. It's how much they can spend without getting checked, essentially. But it's not what they actually have. So I'm like, you don't have to be ashamed, because also the average American is drowning in debt. It's unfortunate, but it's true. I'm telling you, $7,000, if you told someone else that, they'd kiss the cement on the ground outside and cry. Like, they'd be so happy. But the thing is, you have to start somewhere, right? And get credit cards that work for you. So an example of this is the Discover card, right? On top of giving you, cash back for different like categories, be it gas stations, be it, Amazon shopping or whatever, There are other cards that also do, points, right? If you're into traveling, get a travel credit card. You do your basic grocery shopping, they give you twice. So, like, for example, a great card that I have that I take advantage of often, just for full transparency, is I think it's the Delta Amex card,
Oh,
right?
I didn't know they had one.
They do. And so there is an annual fee of $99 a year, but they waive it for the first year. And so after that, it's up to you if you want to keep it. However, if you're buying regular groceries, if you are buying travel, they double your points. Oh, and restaurants too. So if I'm going to dinner, if I'm buying groceries, I'll use that card because I know I was going to buy the groceries anyway. I was going to pay them off anyway. I might as well get points for this.
Strategy.
And exactly. And so then by the time the end of the year comes up, and they give you usually sign-on bonuses too, like when you get the card, they'll give you, say, 50,000 points to fly. By the end of the first year, you're probably looking at another 50,000 points. You probably like you spend well over like 20, 30,000 on your credit cards every single year anyway. The average American. So you might as well turn that into points because they double it for you, and now you're looking at 100,000 points.
It works in your favor.
Right, and you haven't even paid the annual rate yet, right? For the 99 for the year. So then you could be like, you know what? Maybe I don't need this. Maybe I'm not traveling as much. So you cancel it, but you keep your points.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And next year you fly for free. You could save it for another time, etc. And that takes down the cost of your next vacation.
I have to look into this, y'all.
Girl, look into it. Like, look into different credit cards is what I'll say, because everyone has a niche, whether it's shopping for designer, whether it's traveling, whether it's eating. They have cards that will allow you to accrue points on whatever you do. Oh, and you know what? On top of that, when it comes to savings accounts, because people say like, oh, I want a passive stream of income, but I don't know how to do it yet. Nothing is more passive than actually doing absolutely nothing. If you don't have an idea for a business idea, put it in a credit union. Put it somewhere where your savings can grow without being touched. A great one in the state of Connecticut, and I think it's top 3, is Sikorsky Financial.
I was just about to say, I heard
right?
Sikorsky's a good one.
Sikorsky Financial Credit Union, it's also one that I use, is where I put my savings, right? Because they have an interest rate. If you're under 25, I think they give you 2%, which seems like absolutely nothing. But what is Chase giving you? 0.
Should I move that money then?
I would move the money. Do that so you're not touching it as often. It's a good
mental
idea.
Notes, taking mental notes.
Listen, so Apple, another one is Robinhood, which is an investing app, right?
I've heard about Robinhood.
Robinhood gives you 4.9% for just putting your money in there. You don't ever
I
have to.
You can put your money in Robinhood,
You can put your money in there.
I know, like you buy stocks.
You don't
and
have
stuff,
to invest
but
it. They give you 4.9% to do absolutely nothing.
Well, look
now,
at that.
Don't be naive now. They're using your money to make investments of their own. However, up to $250,000 is back. Basically, what that means is if you have $250,000 and something happens, if they crash, legally they're covering you at least $250,000. So what you can do if you're negative Nancy, if you worry a lot, if you're a worrywart, is that you could put, $250 in Apple, $250 in Robinhood, $250 there, whatever. But let your money grow. Like, if you don't have an idea quite yet, that's a nice, easy way. Put your savings away, let it build over time. Passive income, investing, Robinhood, and we talk about that. It's not as hard as you think.
Girl, I tried and I failed.
Well, how did you try?
You know what it is? I think it's because the share. So I got eager, downloaded Robinhood, and this was during like a past relationship, and I forgot exactly what I invested in. I think it was something important, but I think my fear, I didn't invest a lot, so I didn't see it grow. And it wasn't going fast enough for me, if I'm being honest. The minute I saw something plummet, I was like, I'm done. I'm getting out of this thing. I deleted the app, all that. But I do want to get back into it.
Get into it.
I think I'm gonna.
I think that unfortunately we live in a day and age where people talk about investing and they think it has to happen overnight.
I limited myself.
But investing is actually, a natural investing is usually a several year thing, like depending on what you're doing, right? There's nothing wrong with doing short-term investments, but like this whole get rich quick scheme or idea that this generation has come up with, it's not happening often. If it does happen, it happens to like 5 people and the other 95 are down bad, girl. So when it comes to investing, it's actually not that hard, but you have to have a level of discipline. Again, you're not going to get rich overnight, and you have to do some research. Like a lot of the times we're investing in companies we've never heard of. At all. Like people are like, invest in this, invest in this, invest in this. And you're like, what is that? Like even crypto, like what is it? Do you know?
I've never learned.
Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not even
it was just a buzz.
You know what I mean?
Oh my God, crypto. Oh my gosh.
So everyone is always like, invest in this, invest in that, and you'll be rich in a year. And there are a few people like Dogecoin, for example, that blew up for some people. We're going to a friend's wedding. She paying that wedding on Dogecoin. God bless her. I wish I could.
Yeah.
But I'm like, and those investments, I'm not gonna say are terrible, right? But they have to be. If they're going to be such high risk, I would ask yourself, what are you willing to invest in?
What's your risk? Yeah.
Right. And so for Dogecoin, that one was an easier one to invest in because at the time it was literally less than a penny. It was like 0.00000001. So investing $12 to get you hundreds of shares. You know what I mean? So, and that's what happened to our friend actually that's getting married. So she invested when it was nothing. And so when it hit like 7 cents or 20 cents, she pulled out and walked away with thousands of dollars, thousands, right? But that's not everyone's story. That's a miracle.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Be happy for your friend that got it, but it's most likely not going to happen to the average person. What do you use on a day-to-day basis? Like what's something that you use all the time?
My phone.
Invest in the phone. Invest in Apple. Yeah. It's something right? Do you believe that Apple will continue to be successful for the next 2-3 years?
I think so. They're always coming out with new phones, new gadgets.
Invest in Apple. Yeah. And like, I believe, for example, one of the first investments I ever made was Discover credit card. I was such a fan of Discover. I was like, this is going to be huge. I was like, because Discover was a baby credit card coming out the gate when we were in college. And so they weren't MasterCard. They weren't Visa yet. And I was like, y'all don't know. Discover's it's gonna take over the world. Okay? It is. And so at the time, it's gonna blow up. And so no, seriously. And I didn't even understand stocks all that well, but I was like, I genuinely believe that this card will do good because the average person can do well with this card. Invested, and it was like $20 at the time. Now I think Discover is like $100 on the stock market. I bought X amount of shares, and now that money has more than tripled. Grown. You know what I'm saying?
One of my friends actually, and I didn't even think about this, and he must have invested at a decent time because he got quite a few shares in Pfizer.
Yeah,
child.
Yeah,
I don't know what it's worth now, but he's all right.
I bet he is
because he bought some shares in Pfizer, and I was like, why didn't I think of that?
But my thing is just ask yourself, what is the average person using all the time?
That's a great question.
You know what I mean? And then, for example, a great one, and I don't know if it's going to work, y'all. Don't invest on what I say today and then turn around and be like, you robbed me. Right. But like a great one is electric cars are coming up, right?
That's right.
And so I think Tesla just made a deal with like GM and them, and they were like, they're going to need battery producers. They're going to be, I think Tesla's going to be battery producers, and they also have a battery producer. And I was like, okay, like who's producing other batteries? Who's producing chips? Who's producing that, right? Because they're going to need all those things to build this new fleet of electric cars. Yeah. And so I just started looking up the players in the market, who was already partnered with who. You know what I'm saying?
Smart.
And that's what that
research.
That kind of research does not take you more than 10 minutes. Yeah. It is on Google. It is obvious information. Scroll. Right. And so you say, you know what? I just believe that, for an example, Rivian. My friend invested in Rivian, y'all. It went south for him, but whatever. I'm using that as an example. But
sorry, friend.
Rivian, he lost everything.
Okay.
But so I'm like, Rivian is good on the tech. They produce, similar batteries for the Tesla cars, etc. I'm like, okay, do I think GM could reach out to them in a few years since they want to have their own fleet of electric cars? Okay, I'll invest. And it's not always going to work out, right? But just read, find out, and invest what you can afford. You know what I mean? What gives me pause is like the TikToks, the social medias. People like, you see everyone posting. I have a friend of mine. And he's always posting, like he's always inside a jet. He's always at a concert in the front row. Aesthetics. And then you'll be like, hey, yo, like, let's meet up for dinner, and pulls up in a hoopty. And I'm like, I thought you was making meals.
Child, meanwhile, that picture that they took was after the concert, or they actually got up to take that picture and were allowed to go in the front. I know people that have gone to games and they just so happen to, whether it's asking the security guard or what have you, I don't know how this person exactly got where they were, but they took the picture there, but they didn't have floor seating.
No, they don't.
But the aesthetic of posting that on Instagram, oh, child, you're automatically thinking, girl, you got floor seats.
You must have it. And the reality is most people don't.
Close to nosebleeds.
And then those people will tell you, oh, I'm investing right now. And you're like, what? Well, tell me. Next thing you know, you destitute. They done told you they secret, and the next thing you saying is spare change, ma'am, spare change. I'm telling you, do not let these people deceive you. I'm telling you, it's a scary place. I love
So
and you know what it
scary.
is? It's friends, like, and your friends have good intentions. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh, I joined something because my friend told me, but they haven't made $1 yet. And you're like, you know what? Come back to me when you've made money. You know what I'm saying? Or they're just calling you in to have you pay their
little subscription fee. I have a friend now, as you know,
Mhm.
very, very successful friend. And one of the lessons that she taught me was similar to actually a lot of the things that you talked about. So it's the discipline, it's the hard work, it's the consistency, it's the don't be afraid to lose, because you may lose when you invest.
But lose what you can afford.
That's the thing as well. And I remember talking to her and I was just like, how did you even begin? And she says, listen, and this is for anyone out here that you could work a 9 to 5, you could work a minimum wage job, what have you. It doesn't matter how much money you're making. But if you put some money to the side,
Yes, ma'am.
you have your own little recycled amount of money, couple $100 that you can invest. You could flip that.
Yes, you can.
And it actually, when she told me that, it felt attainable, because my friend, and if she watches this episode, she's gonna know exactly who she is. She makes over 5-6 figures in a day now.
Yep.
Because that's literally, fortunately, because she has multiple streams of income, these are the numbers that she's seeing. But she comes from humble beginnings. This young woman worked, I believe, 2 or 3 jobs in like high school.
Yeah, I believe it.
Went to school just like us, graduated, and pursued her career that she went to school for. And she worked her 12-hour shifts and she had her money. But then she got to a point where she became a strategist. And she said, you know what? I don't want to work 12-hour shifts forever. So what am I going to do to invest this money that I'm making within these 12-hour shifts? So if you're working graveyard shifts, if you're working at Home Depot, Walmart, whatever, put some of that money aside. And just like we're talking about right now, invest it. Because guess what?
Listen.
Once that money flips, what ended up happening with her is she flipped that money and she took the money that she flipped to invest it back. And that's another thing. Don't be sheesh with the money you have.
For those of y'all who don't know what sheesh means, it means stingy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that
fine.
A Creole term?
It is a Haitian saying. It just means don't be stingy. Sheesh means stingy. It's okay. You didn't know Sabrina was Haitian, you know now.
I am. Don't be sheesh. But she kept putting that money back
in. Yep.
So she wasn't like, oh my God, I'm seeing money I've never seen before. I'm gonna hold it. No, she threw it right back. Yep. And guess what? Now she's making 5-6 figures a day because she allowed it. She didn't hold it.
Do you know the fastest way to lose money? Hold on to it. Do nothing with it. Money changes all the time. The value of the dollar changes all the time. Look at inflation today. Oh. I'm like, now it's like the same eggs that cost you $6 last year.
I was gonna say exactly that. Eggs?
Let me tell you something. To get eggs at the BJ's, you gotta spit polish somebody's shoe before you get in there. Like, I'm serious. You gotta get some elbow grease in there because it is not the. Girl, let me tell you something. The other day, this is so terrible, y'all. The other day, I had eggs that expired, right? And there was 2 more eggs in there. And I said, listen, gone are the days that I could be like, forget it, it's expired. Yuck. I was like, let me see the date. Let me see the date.
2 days ago.
I was like 24 hours ago.
I can manage.
I was like, whatever happens,
I'm going to be okay.
I'm going to be just fine. All right? I'm like, because if another $12 is gone. But like you have to be realistic with yourself. And so don't hold on to money. If you've come into something recently, ask yourself, what is the most comfortable thing you are doing? If it's absolutely nothing, fine. Put it in a credit union. Put it in some place that your money will grow. Maybe you won't touch it for 5 years and it will have grown by 25% if you put it in, one of the 5% places. But do something with it. Invest it. Invest in things that you know. Invest in things that you believe. Invest in things that you have researched. Please, for the love of God. Mm-hmm. And if nothing, invest in yourself, right? Like if you're like, oh, you know what? I don't want to invest in the stock market. I don't want to do this, but you have an idea. Okay. But also ask yourself what you're willing to lose, how far you're willing to go, and have discipline. That's all you need.
Discipline.
Discipline will bring you
Absolutely.
out of a bad situation financially.
It did for me, child.
It did for me, girl.
Now to 0.
And you know what it is? Show up for yourself. The same way that you wake up for the gym and you're like, show up for yourself financially. Start paying
Absolutely.
it down.
Yeah.
Because you're investing in your quality of life.
It's literally like your health is at risk.
Yeah.
The amount of like, I don't want to say anxiety attacks, y'all, but it was stressing me out to know that I literally am not going to receive a call from my bank, knowing that I'm not behind on a payment, knowing that I don't have interest accruing every day.
Nobody has my name in their mouth.
Knowing that $300, $400, $500 isn't going to automatically be taken out of my check at the end of the month.
Yep.
I feel like I have more money. I have the same amount of money I had all along.
But you have more money.
Child.
But you have more money.
I have more money.
And you have more mental space to know what to do with the money.
One of the things that I'm noticing now, and it's not exciting the way it used to be when I was just frivolous, but my balance, because I have $0, and I don't know if anyone's experienced this, that credit balance increases.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I have how many K now in credit?
Because they trust you. What they're saying is, we trust you, but it's a double-edged sword.
I was like, I could put a down payment on a house.
When you're disciplined and they give it to you, it's fine. You know what I'm saying? So always remember that they're working for you, but you're also working for them. Like, that's how they make their bread and butter. It's off of you. So just keep that in mind. There's nothing wrong with credit increases. It does mean that you have more access, and that's great, because there are sometimes you're going to make your big boy purchases and you need the access. You know what I mean? But you're also working for them. So be careful. I was just telling Sabrina before we got up here, the most disrespectful line in the store is, would you like to open a credit card today to take $20 off your order?
Child, Victoria's Secret tried to get me not too long ago. I love y'all. I really do. But would you like to, what did she say? She was like $20 off if you, $20 off if you open a credit card with us. Are you interested?
And it will cost you $20,000.
Right. I don't think so. Not today.
You know, my first intro into credit cards is my friend Fangie, actually. Her mother taught me this lesson. She had a Macy's credit card.
Shout out to Fangie. I actually think I know what Fangie you're talking about.
Yeah. Fangie, I think I adore her. She's a sweetheart. Her mother came over with my mom one day, because those women, I love Fangie's mom. I love my mom. They had problems with the Macy's girls. They couldn't go in there without getting something. Let me tell you something. My mama got a problem. So I remember that she had purchased some socks at Macy's. Her balance was also 0 on her card. She purchased socks at Macy's for $6, right? Because if you use the card, you get money back.
Yeah.
She forgot she bought those socks. And for some reason, she never paid the card for like a year, because she just never used it again. Something happened. And debt collectors started coming to her home talking about, you owe several $100s.
Yeah.
And she goes, what? I haven't spent that money at the Macy's. None of that. They pull it up. The $6 socks had compounded over like 16
Isn't that
months.
Insane?
16 months for $6 socks. And it was now hundreds of dollars.
I believe
hundreds.
With I believe you.
And she was like, I'll pay you the $6. I'll give you the $6 right now. And they was like, ma'am, you owe us hundreds of dollars.
It's so scary, because when that interest, like when it accrues, the numbers, like how did I go? And it takes days. Like when I was like in crazy debt and I was like in the thousands, I want to say maybe around like $5,000. I'm like, okay, I see it's $5,000 a day. But I look back at that $5,000 the following week, it's now 6 something.
Listen.
And I was like,
it depends on what your interest rate is. And you know what? Did you know that you could just call and ask them to lower your interest rate, and literally 80% of the time they will?
So I actually remember having a conversation with a very, very, very nice representative one time. She actually wanted to enroll me in this program that I didn't know too much about. And again, my own ignorance and fear, I didn't do it. But she had said we could lower your APR, and this is how. And they sent me it was like a whole mail paperwork. I don't like anything. I like hard copies along with like electronic copies.
Yep.
But she sent me the information via mail. So I got it but it was only like a year program though.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't really last too long, but it did help. for a little bit of time, but I didn't take
Listen,
advantage of
if
it the
you
way
have
I
to
should
enroll
have.
in programs to get your credit down, to get your debt down, I would say do it. Look into it,
Yeah.
but do it. And second, I'm like, yo, just ask. Like,
Don't
even
be
if you're ignorant, don't
ashamed.
be
That's
ashamed.
the
Like,
thing. I was embarrassed. I didn't want to
girl,
ask. I'm just thinking these people want their money.
no,
Don't
no,
even ask
no.
a question. Just give them their
Don't.
money.
Let
And
me
I'm
tell you
like,
something. The
ugh.
credit cards, I mean, these credit companies are entities, but people work inside of them. And that's the
Yeah.
best part, right? I'm like, we're so used to people being so mean and judgmental, we won't ask. I will ask for anything, girl. I'll ask for 50% off at the McDonald's. I don't give a damn. Listen, I'm my mother's child. You attract more flies with honey. You will listen. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
A laugh. I'm telling you. All I gotta do is get a chuckle out of somebody, and I know you're mine. I remember the first. No, listen. The first time I missed my credit
She's
card payment.
insane.
Listen. The first time I missed my credit card payment with Discover, the first thing I did was call. And we was just talking. And I was like, listen, girl, I'm in college. So much was going on. And she was like, oh, I get it. It's hard. And I was like, girl, it's just about as hard as my head. I'm hard-headed. It's tough out here. Da-da-da-da-da. And she started chuckling. She was like, oh, you're a sweetheart. You're going to get through it. And I was like, not if you don't waive this late fee. I won't be able to pay, baby, if you don't waive the late fee. And I was like, and I will never be late again, miss. I promise. And she was like, just this one time. It happened a few more times. It happened a few more times.
It was more than one.
It sure was. Because I was in college. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you attract more flies with honey. You're talking to people, and it's not always going to work. But even if you just ask for a simple explanation, like, hey, how did we get here?
Yeah.
The APR is at 33%. You said, how do we lower that? You can do that by yourself because you like me. How low can we go?
Yeah.
Like, I've had those conversations. And everyone thinks you got to walk in with big bad pride and say, I can afford everything. No, you can't. If you could, you wouldn't be here. Just be honest. Just be honest. And they get it. You want to know why? Because they're going through the same thing. That's it. Just relate, be transparent, and be disciplined. That's the only thing you need to take away from today's episode. Because I think we make it so complicated. So takeaways, I'm going to say, look at your debt. Know what the number is. Make a plan to start paying it down. If it's $100 a month, do $100 a month.
Yes.
2, move your money. If you're trying to have a savings account, I wouldn't recommend having it in the same institution unless that institution is giving you interest. They're using your money to invest. They might as well give you 2% back. That is not a lot to ask. So look for your local credit unions. If you're not into that, look at Apple's credit card. Look at Robinhood. You don't have to do anything with that money. Put it in. Don't touch it. It grows by 4.9%, specifically in Robinhood. I'm like, and don't be ashamed. Most Americans have debt. There is nothing to be ashamed about. This whole country is run on credit, y'all. All right? There is nothing to be ashamed about.
And another thing that I could say, if I could add as well, in addition to being disciplined, like, and I guess it falls under discipline, but be responsible. Be responsible. Child, you know you shouldn't be buying that Louis clutch. You got over $3,000 in debt and you want to buy a Louis clutch, whether it's debit, whether it's more credit. If you know that you have that money, why don't you pay down that credit card so that way the APR, you know what I mean? So being responsible, and I had to do that. Yeah. I had to come to a point where I was like, okay, let's not be in this frenzy anymore. Stop doing these.
And who are we impressing too when we're buying these things? I'm like,
that's another topic.
You may be cute in the outfit, but when I go to your house, it's a folding chair and a yoga mat. It don't make no sense.
Interesting?
The lights aren't on. This don't make no sense.
Got the Gucci belt and the Gucci bag and what have you.
Act according to your wage.
But you're not even eating well.
Act according to your wage.
One thing that I've realized with not having this debt, y'all, I have a sound mind.
Peace, be still.
I said no to that little Louis clutch, and guess what? In Jesus' name, the Louis clutch, Louis bag, whatever it is that I do want, yes, I'll be able to put money aside for it. That comes with the discipline and the responsibility.
Yes,
it's not that you can't have nice things, but you just got to be smart.
I'm not saying that you can't have those things, but in time. And do you need all of them? And, you know what I'm saying? Do you need all of it right now? You actually don't. You don't.
No.
I'm like, and guess what? Everybody has sales. I don't know about Louis. Don't quote me. I'm not there yet. Everybody has
But you
sales.
know what's interesting when it comes to consignment stores, when it comes to even just knowing a friend that might know a friend that works for these companies, you'd be surprised.
The discounts.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
a lot of these people that have designer, and feel free to, give us your thoughts in the comment section as well towards the end of this episode. But there have been people that tell me that they actually don't pay full price for these bags.
Girl,
But then there are people that want to keep up with the Joneses that will put themselves in the negatives to have these bags. But meanwhile, this person got 30% off, or they had X amount of points and they were able to,
You wanna know
get the
something?
bag for way less.
They have something
What are
percent
we
off. They
doing?
have points.
What are
Guess
we
what?
doing?
My coworker, she loves, what is it? Is a Gucci. She's a huge Gucci fan, and she knows I'm into bags. Girl, she was like, "Oh my God, I have these Gucci bags. I've done nothing with them." She's a grown woman. She's like 60, y'all. And she was like, "And I've done nothing with them for the past 20 something years." And she was like, "The next time you see me, just say when, girl. I will bring you some."
Wow.
I was like, "What?" And I'm like, they don't even have to be my style. You know what I'm saying?
No.
I will put them.
They're timeless.
Girl, I will put them for sale. And you know what?
Okay.
That is also another thing. If you are done with certain outfits, if they are still in good quality, like I have my prom dress, y'all.
Yeah.
I've only worn it to prom.
Resell them, yeah.
Resell it. You are not going to wear that $400 dress ever again.
Ever.
Resell it. And even if they give you a low ball,
true.
$400 in 2013, I'll take $100 today.
Yeah.
I'll take 50 today. Be reasonable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, think about it. Those are easy ways to make money. Those are easy ways to recover your losses. And again, it just comes down to being disciplined. If your closet is stuffed, you probably don't need anything else. If you want something else, maybe sell something, give away something, anything.
Exchange.
And if you give away something like the Goodwill, use that as a tax benefit at the end of the year. Listen, y'all, I'm giving y'all the tips. I'm not going to give them all today because I don't want to overwhelm you. But for now, take away that there's no reason to be shamed, that there is something that you can do with your money, even if it's nothing, and still build on top of it.
Yeah.
And it starts with just looking in the mirror, looking at the number and saying, okay, what's our next plan of attack?
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Y'all, let us know in the comment if you have learned anything today, if it was too fast, what our recommendations are. Be sure to tell us what was something that you splurged on that you probably shouldn't have, because we've all been there. We've all been there. Girl, Black Friday, I made a mistake on Black Friday. I thought I was Oprah. I get a bag. You get a bag. You get a bag. Made a mistake. It happens to the best of us. I'm not sitting here telling y'all this because I'm sitting high and mighty. I'm telling y'all this because I done dug myself out of places I had no business being.
Humility I've learned over time.
Come on, somebody. Come on. Nah. Okay? I'm like, but be sure to let us know in the comments what you plan on doing to set yourself up for success. That's really what you're doing when you're taking a hold of your finances. And be sure to let us know your thoughts on this episode. Thank you, Sabrina, for joining us so much and for being so transparent. We will definitely be seeing her again. Y'all already know this.
I hope so. It's been a pleasure.
And we will see you guys next time. Bye.